right, hello and welcome to Brains and Brawns podcast. I'm Chuck Teray.
I'm Wendy Sloan.
Brains and Brawns is a weekly podcast designed to give you both sides of the story and help you better understand your world. Today we are brought to you by Astute Productions, where ideas take form, and Patriot Focus, turning everyday people into entrepreneurs and helping small businesses grow. So today we are joined by Kingsley Grant. He's author of the book The Midlife Launch. You can find that on Amazon. You can visit his website at www.kingsleygrant.com, and he also has a podcast called The Midlife Launch. So thanks for coming on, Kingsley.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
And just one last thing before we get started, I just wanted to show our audience our logo for the Brains and Brawn podcast.
Awesome. Brand new logo.
Right? Yeah, brand new logo, and our tagline, constructing an astute future. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
Through entrepreneurship and knowing who you are.
And that's what I think the whole idea of us being here today is trying to help to construct, right, an astute future, and for that person who is listening, and help them to realize it's possible, right?
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So Kingsley does, he helps people with, I went to a conference, it was called Passion to Profit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he helps people, find their passion, identify what they're good at, what they love, and then helps identify ways where they can turn that into a business, right?
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I believe that every one of us have a passion of some kind, and sometimes what happens is the frustrating thing is to identify what that is. But not only to identify, is how can you take that and create it into some kind of profitable means or a hobby or a vocation. And so I find if I can help people to the process of selecting that among the many passions that they have, right?
Many, see, as a serial entrepreneur, I know about that, right?
Right. We all have, I have so many ideas. I can do all this. Okay, fine. Well, if you were to find one and start with that, what would that be? So I have them kind of narrow down to that one thing, and then at least test it out, take it by a test drive,
right,
and see how it drives, And then find, of course, not only that, but do you have the skill sets and the talents along with the passion? And then is there a market that's there to support that, Yeah.
So what is your background? How did you start? What was your career like?
Well, it's a great question. For 21 years, I was in a career, and I basically realized, after a while, that hey, it came to a point where you run out of steam. There's something else, So there's a stirring. It's like
something more, right?
Content. Yeah, something more. Yeah, and that's what I find. There's something more, and it is content. And so, what would that be? And for me, I love to speak. That's my passion, to speak, and I also like to help people fulfill their dream, because I feel like the dream inside of us needs to be emptied. And so the whole point is just changing the world one dream at a time is my passion. And how can I help a person do that? So I had to wrestle with that whole idea. What would that look like? How could I go about doing that? And so I help through coaches and through mentors, and of course a lot of reading of books and so on. I was able to help to kind of narrow down, okay, this is what I want to do. Here's how to go about doing that. So that was a process, it's a journey.
And in your 21 career, you were a psychiatrist, so what was it, or a counselor?
No, what I'm doing right now is as a counselor therapist. So I'm a psychotherapist, right?
Psychotherapist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it was more family oriented, helping families navigate through teenagehood. So I was working with many teenagers and parents of teenagers, how to navigate those rough stages. So I teach parenting class, would help empower teens to be responsible and all that stuff. So it's more along the family line.
Hopefully you're still working in 10 years.
Problems in families.
Well, what I do
but there's a lot of transferable skills of what
books.
you used to do to what you're more passionate about today.
And so much more, because of what happened was to be able to problem solve, to be able to find a way to find a solution to issues, and then sell the idea to a parent, sell the idea to a teenager. Here's the reason why you need to follow this path. Here's what's going to be best for you.
So did you do speeches and stuff with that? Is that so that's why you were kind of comfortable doing it in that?
Yes, I did a lot of workshops, a lot of training, and so
And that's how Kingsley and I met, through the Florida Speakers Association. We both went through the Connie Gordon Academy to learn to be better speakers. A year ago, a little over a year ago.
And that's and that's what the passion that draw us to those places that provide.
So did you so you were doing speeches and you realized that was a passion of yours, that you liked doing it. then did you start doing speeches like outside of work, like for money, or is that what you wanted to get into, or like being a paid speaker?
Yeah,
is that how it?
Being a paid speaker, and what I was actually doing is how do I take that, and so first of all, it was more the therapeutic process. How do I then get into people's the psychology of people? So I went to school at 47 years old, and then my master's, because I know I needed some more education. I thought I needed that, which I did, and it was fantastic. I got that done.
Right.
But the point is only to validate and bring a credibility to what it is you're doing, already been doing all these many years.
Right.
And so what happened was I realized it was a more one-to-one. So it was more one-to-one. So I need to do the one-to-many. And speaking gave me the platform to do one-to-many. Whereas what my coaching or my counseling becomes more one-to-one. And I want to reach more people. So I said I had to find an avenue, and hence my podcast and my writing and my public speaking to areas of needs, so it's a business or groups or whatever the case might be.
So then when did it get to the point where you knew you could go out on your own? Like how did you make, like, because that's what you talk to people about, right? Is how do you make that break? Because a lot of times it starts a little bit on the side, and you kind of build it up.
Right.
So where did you make the break?
Well, I think once I realized that this is working, when I get paid, and I realized, okay, this seems, if I did this part-time, and it seemed to be it's bringing in an income that was sufficient, not enough to replace my current job at the time, but I realized if I did the math, and I'm only putting in X number of hours, and I'm able to have this income, what if I did more hours to that, then I could generate more income?
Right.
So it became a point where it was enough to say, if I took a leap, I could probably sustain and not have to live on the street. And I would not go hungry.
That's a big fear, isn't it? Everybody.
It's a fear. Yeah. And so once I know I could basically take care of my family and have a food on my table, and may not be able to do everything, but I could do some things. I say, you know what? It's worth going after my dream.
Right.
Because you're more passionate about the new thing, right?
Oh yes.
So then Midlife Launch was your first book?
Well, actually, no. I've written my first book was This Was Not Supposed to Happen, and really, it's a book about. It's a very general book about everything, And so it was more like talking about my experience as a child, a teenager going through a trauma, and so I said this was not supposed to happen, and I shared my story there about what happened and my journey, and then out of that I had to learn how to forgive a person who had harmed me, and said, well. I wrote a book about forgiveness. I said, how do you forgive when your mind says yes and your heart says no?
Right.
I wrote that book about forgiveness, right? And also,
sometimes with some people it's the opposite. Sometimes their heart says yes and their mind says no.
Well, I find that the heart is the hardest, because the heart is saying, I'm not going to let go of that. And the mind is saying, I hear people tell me it's good, I need to forgive.
Right.
My family says I need to forgive. So my mind, I'm okay, I see the logical reasons. My heart is saying, my emotion is saying, no, you're kidding.
Yeah, no way.
Right? No way. So I find the mind is easier to do that, but the heart is the hardest. So the book is like, how do you bring the heart on the same plane with the mind? So I taught the process of that, how to walk that process through. So I call it forgiveness. It's a gift I give, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I wrote that book. And then I also have an e-book about how to turn your passion into profit as well. I have that there, So I have that, and then my new book, of course, is called The Midlife Launch.
Hold that up good for the camera.
Yeah, it's called The Midlife Launch.
And for our podcast. It's
exactly,
all audio.
And it's how to successfully pursue your dream. Because what I find people in this stage of life, their fear is, do I have to give up certain things? And it's risky. I'm in midlife, and it's a harder thing now to do a pivot. So I wanted to do the process of how to normalize those fears, how to go after your dream, and the consequence of not going after your dream.
Because being stuck for another 10, 20 years in a job that you really don't like, right?
Then you talk about the, what was it, you wanted to be the grave robber, right?
The graveyard, yeah.
I like that concept.
The graveyard robber. Because what happened is that when my mom died in 2011, and she was a school teacher all her life, and she did a great job. But towards her end of her life, my sister asked her this question, Mom, if you could have been something else or anything else other than a teacher, what would you be? My mom surprised her and us with her answer was, I wanted to be a nurse. And so that nurse died in my mom and never saw the light of day. And I was thinking about, I heard a speech many, many years ago about the graveyard being the richest place on earth. Because in the graveyard, you have people who have songs that they never sung, books that they never wrote, business that they were never started.
Yeah.
So my passion is to help people not make the graveyard any richer.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to live your dream out.
Yeah, and get it all out.
Get it all out.
It's a great concept, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So how do you help people find their purpose or what their passion is? Do some people come to you that are not sure?
Oh, yeah.
And what's your process of helping them?
What I do is that very quickly, I just say, write down all the passions you have in one column. So three columns on a piece of paper, for example. So you have first column, what are all the passions you think you have inside of you? Write those down. Then if you had to choose just three of those on that list, what would those three be? And so they go through and they do it first. So number one against number two. So if you had to choose between number one and number two, which would you choose? So say you choose number one. Okay, 1 against 3. And you compare all the way down until you have 3. And now in that column with your 3 passions that you've chosen out of your list, if you had to, and you must choose one because your life was on the line.
Yeah.
Right?
Which one?
Which one would you choose?
Yeah.
And so what happened is that one, we said, what if you now test drive that, work on that one? Because you had to choose. Doesn't mean may not come back to the other 2.
Right.
But now you say, well, with that one, is there a market? Is there someone who needs that? Because you have to have a market for it to make money.
Right.
Right? So once I said I have the passion, I have the market, and I have the skill sets, now we go ahead and test that out. And most times they find they're now doing something that they love, they're getting paid for it, and they can pursue that. And if it really is working out, just do more of that. You know?
Yeah.
So
that's a great way of looking at it. And great way of getting people to focus.
Very easily, right? Very quickly.
And so what's the percentage? Do most people stay with the one thing that they picked, or do most people then go to 2 or 3?
They may go back to number 2 because number 1 is not working out as well, or they may merge. They find a way to merge together.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like as a speaker, I can teach, I can coach, and I love coaching, I love speaking, but I can bring those together under one umbrella. I love writing because under one umbrella. You know, so. And what I find is I've developed what I call a score big or go home concept, right?
Yeah, okay.
Right. So
score big or go home.
And
you want to win.
I want to win because big simply means bigger influence globally. So if you don't have a bigger influence globally, you've got to follow the score model or score concept or score habits, right? And so if it's okay, I can talk about that and share.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your habit. I have written down here is like, how do you schedule and do everything that you do? Because most entrepreneurs have overwhelm after a period of time, especially creative. And you mentioned speaking, podcasting, writing. So can you tell our audience, how do you schedule? How do you get it done?
I wish I knew if I'd be a rich man today. But really, it's really knowing that if this is so important to me, then I've got to make sure that all the things are not not done, so I can do this. So I have to say no to those things to say yes to this. So, for example, I know my weekly podcast must get out, right? I know I write for other platforms like the Huffington Post. I write for Addicted to Success. I write for Good Man Project. Those have to get out because it's my way of PR, right? Those are my must-do things. I know that.
Is that a monthly thing that you do or a weekly thing? The Huffington Post.
Well, I can write. Once I'm in, I can write whenever I want to write. So I try to write maybe once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks. But I try
to write. Do you batch
write?
Like write a bunch or repurpose things?
No, So a new article. So if I have, so what I may do is because I get ideas from my podcast or through I write for Quora, which Quora is if you know what Quora is. Quora is a platform.
Like advice or something.
Yeah, and people are asking all questions, and I'm giving advice there. So I get a lot of ideas.
Because people are asking questions.
Yeah, and it's like, a lot of people are interested in this, so that would make a great.
It's topics.
Yeah, right.
And so that's a good way of looking at it. That, but people comment or they vote on it, or the views on that goes skyrocket. Oh, so that's a great topic to talk about.
Right.
So I may write an article on that.
That's a good idea.
You know, or a podcast on that. So that gets a lot of ideas. It's just there, right? So for me though, I have my day. I try to use in my morning time. I don't no social media before 12.
Did you guys get that? No social media before 12. That's how he gets a bunch of stuff done.
A time waster, you know? So I must get a project done before I get on. So I reward myself with social media.
But then how do you know what's going on in the world?
It can wait, right?
Yeah. You know, I think it's...
What time do you wake up?
Oh, for me it's about 5:30, 5:45, about 5:30 thereabouts.
5:30, quarter to 6.
Yeah, because I go to the gym, I have my quiet time, I have my meditation, I have my journaling. I get all that done early morning time.
So he has a ritual. He has a wake up ritual.
Yeah, and it works. It really works, you know. And so then I go into my writing or my podcast, whatever it is that day. And so once you've accomplished something that you want, something major, then you say, okay, now. So if I do finish that before 12, then I can check social media because I finished that one major thing.
Right.
But sometimes if it's not, I say no, I've got to get it done. So even if I'm not going to get it done that day, but at least noon has come, I can go and check my social media.
Right.
Right. And I don't spend a lot of time on my social media either. I just go in and scan through, and if something's relevant, I may spend some time there, but I don't waste a lot of time. I say 25 minutes. No, it's a time waster.
Do you set like a timer or anything so that you know, or how long are you on social media?
Well, I just like for my Twitter where I do most of my engaging. So I get on there and answer a question here and there or engage someone, and I'm off. Right. But my Facebook, and I just engage if I need to.
Back to work.
And I'm off. I'm back to work. So
you do Twitter and Facebook. Anything else that you're big on?
LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn, because that's for business people.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that's my 3 platforms I really focus on. You know, I do post on other platforms, but I don't go there and spend a lot of time there. I really don't even check sometimes because it's a way of just getting some message out, and you know.
And that's a number with quite a few successful entrepreneurs. This story is what they try to focus on social media, just depending on the age and the demographic of their we all talk about their audience, their avatar. So who is your avatar? Have you defined that?
Yeah, mine is the midlife professional, and I have is that male mainly in my head, even though it spill over into a lot of females who are engaged with me, but in my mind is that person who is between 37 years old, but mine is 43 years old. But my demographics is 37 to 63, and a midlife professional. So it's someone who is, you know, college degree and is in that stage who desire to do something else. What more can I do?
Right.
Is this all? And so that's the person I'm focused on, and I'm helping that person navigate now how to move from where they are and do that one thing that they want to go after, with that dream, that passion.
So are you giving them? Is it mostly like coaching, you know, like you're talking about having them find their passion and everything? Like, what are you giving them actual steps to, like, you know, building a website or how to market? Like, is it the whole business thing, or is it just kind of getting them over the fear of actually doing it? Like, where do you stop, or where does it
go? And so it begins with their mindset. It's to help them to realize you can do this. It's to really empower them, give them the confidence level. And then I will tell them, here are some things you want to be thinking about your website. So I will tell them how to get their URL, what they need to do about that, their social media, maybe what they might want to do about social media, and why certain social media. So I have a whole thing I have put together to walk them through the process. And I talk about the idea of how to post, you know, what might be, how to get
appropriate, right?
Yeah, right.
Not all the cat pictures are dog pictures, right?
Exactly, the business person. Right?
Relevant to the industry.
Yeah, and if you're into LinkedIn, you want to have a good profile, consistency across all the platforms. I talk about all those things in the how to, but I tell them what they need to do. As for example, you need to think about your mindset. You gotta believe you can do this. You're not too old. And look at me as I'm a story. I say, here's my story.
Right.
You're not too old. You can get it done. And so what I find then, I use a SCORE model I mentioned earlier. So it's what's your story? So the S is, I call it storification. That means we all have a story. And especially in midlife, you have your history and your experiences.
Right.
So go back and revisit that and realize there's something you can take from that and now use with your passion you've identified. So you story that and make sure the story is right. So there's something that in your story that can really be a hindrance.
Okay.
So if a hindrance, you got to frame it to make it a win for you. So whatever it is a negative experience, how do you frame that, what you've learned from that, and make it positive, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get a story right. And then that's the S part of SCORE. Then the C is,
We're gonna.
Yeah. So the C is collaboration. So what happened is that you and I, we realized I can't do it on my own. I need to find someone who has either done it or is doing it. So it's like networking, but I call it collaboration. Is who do I collaborate with to get myself from where I am to where I want to go?
Okay.
And it could be a coach, a mentor. It could be a mastermind group. It could be you got to collaborate. Sure. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Especially in an early stage, you need to be encouraged.
Yeah, you need to have that. Yes, yes. I was just at a Tony Robbins conference. Like, yes, yes. You know, be in the peak state, right?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And so even something like that is like, it's to get you past that mindset. Because once you leave that Tony Robbins, for example, is like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can walk across a fire.
Yes. Once you can walk across the fire like I did, nothing can stop you.
Yeah, you're unstoppable.
And you didn't get burned?
I did not get burned.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the media
hyped it too much.
Hyped it too much.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody did call the ambulance. But
yeah.
But I mean, I can tell you,
1.3 million people have done that, and
I know
4 people have been hurt, and everyone's freaking.
Exactly. I mean, what that ratio is? Where do you find that success ratio?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, the next day it was a packed audience. There, 8,000 people were still back there, so maybe 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. And so that's
it's the mindset, as you were saying. It's the mindset.
But it's really had the story. Instead of working against you, it work for you, and then you collaborate with people who are going in the same direction. People who believe this idea and have the entrepreneur mindset, for example.
Right.
That they say, you know what? Yeah, I have done it, and here's what I'm doing. So you're collaborating, and you're moving into a new circle of friends, and so you may have to leave where you are, as Jim Rohn said. He said that you are the average of the 5 people you hang around.
Right.
So your 5 people is keeping you down. You've got to change your 5 people and get 5 other people.
Right.
So you have to collaborate with the right people. So it's not just collaboration. It's who you're collaborating with. It must be people who are going to move you in that direction. Mm-hmm. And while you're in that journey, you're now beginning to find something that are working. You're picking up 1 or 2 things that are now working. So you do more of that. So you optimize that. That's an all-in score.
Yeah.
You're optimizing what's working, so you can do more. And what that does, it gives you that motivation. That mojo is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
those people are going to be supportive too, which is going to keep your spirits up.
Right.
Because you always hear that about people trying to do stuff, but then like their families telling them whatever, or their friends like
you can't do it. You've tried so many different things before. You're always hopping around.
It's true.
Once you break out of that, you got to get around, like you said.
Dream killers. You have dream killers. You have drainers, right? People are drain your energy and drain. And that's why in my book I talk about 3 of my chapters is how families could be the foe of your dream, and I said friends could be the foe of your dream. Yeah. And so I talk about the 3 F's, and fear could be the foe of your dream. And I talk about how that is all fleshed out. And so if it's in case your families are not encouraging you, they're discouraging you, they're killing your dream, you need to find some other people. They're not bad people.
Yeah.
They just don't understand.
Right.
And maybe I didn't explain it well enough to get them on my side.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're getting in the way. It may not be their fault. So I have also a chapter on the responsibility. I may take responsibility of educating them about what I'm doing, but if I'm doing something that's bringing some kind of a positive return,
and they see that,
and
they might see extra cash, or they might just say you happier that you're alive more, in your passion.
And that's why you're optimizing those things, right? Okay. Then the R is a reconciliation. So what happened is that in this journey, I'm gonna make mistakes, or I'm gonna offend someone.
Yeah.
Right? and so what do? I gotta reconcile with self and others, because relationships are so important. And what it means, I have to forgive myself of my mistakes. I may have to forgive someone else. So I have to reconcile along the way that it's okay, I made a mistake, let's get up and go. So I have to reconcile with the fact that I'm not going to always get it right. Mm-hmm. So I have to always be able in that mode of reconciliation.
They say that it was like one of those things I've heard before that I love is like the most successful people. Something about the most successful people out there are only successful because they've failed a lot more than you.
Yeah, right.
They tried.
I like that.
And I like that because it's true. Because nobody, in order to get successful, you have to have a lot of failures because you're learning from each one. So if you haven't failed a lot, then you're not really going to be that successful because you haven't learned enough lessons to really be an expert, as they say.
I remember read that quote this morning. you do not learn from your successes.
You
learn from your failures.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. That kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Here comes that storm. You brought it with
the storm, right? And so you're going to reconcile with these mistakes. You're going to learn from them as well, right? So in the reconciliation stage, it's to normalize that stage of time and say, hey, okay, take a deep breath. What am I learning here, right? I think Nelson Mandela says, he said, I never lose in life. He said, I either win or I learn.
That's good. I like that one too.
And so my thing also, when I'm coaching, my coaching with people, I said sometimes, life is so hard, right? I said, okay, I get it, but
cancel that, right? You can't say that, right? Oh my goodness, if they think that.
I just say, let's reframe that. What if you say, life is learning?
Life is learning.
Life is learning.
Yeah.
So what you're always looking for the learning part of life, right?
Make everything an opportunity.
An opportunity. Yeah. I just wrote an ebook that's called Midlife Opportunity. Talk about the idea of how instead of saying midlife crisis, it's an opportunity. You're now being presented with. What if you use that to your advantage? And then the E in SCORE is elimination. So sometimes in the journey, you have some relationships you may need to eliminate because it's not working, it's not helping you.
Right.
It could be some habits you need to eliminate. So what would that look like? So along the journey, you're going to identify these things and say, hey, you know what? I'm scoring real big now, but there's something that are really holding me back. What's that one thing or two things? Eliminate that. It's not serving you. And then you go back and do a new story. Collaborate again. So you're always moving up. Yeah. And the score.
So let's see if we can recap, if we can remember his score.
Okay,
so
let's see how
story, collaborate,
optimize,
optimize what's working, right? R is reevaluate, reconcile. Say you're sorry if you've made mistakes,
and eliminate.
All right, so
nice.
Got that. Very good.
You got it.
You're a good teacher.
Oh, thank you. And that's why, as you're listening, just make sure you're doing that constantly. Is a rinse and repeat idea. So you go through the whole process, you rinse and repeat it, and go again. Because every stage you're moving up, you're gonna have to keep on doing this.
That's the upward spiral of happiness.
It is. It is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I find if a person is in this area of life and want to be an entrepreneur or fulfill their dream, whatever that might look like, this will help them to really move through the journey and the process and have a chance to be more successful.
Very good. Yes. I'm so glad that we had you here. So in recapping, or any last parting words that you want to have for our audience?
Yeah, I would just simply say that life gives us opportunities, and it's how we frame that. It's what it is you decide you're going to let your life look like. Because what happened is, so far you may have been following a narrative or a script that someone else has scripted for you. You have an opportunity now to write your own script, so you can have that destination that you have in mind. Well, only you can hold the pen and write it, not allow someone else to write your script for you. And if you do that, you could have the dream of your life. That's what I would say in my parting words.
Very, very nice. And again, we'll have his contact information down, but just if you want to tell our audience too, how can they, what's your best way to contact you? Thank you for asking me to do that. I appreciate it very much. That the best place is going to Kingsley Grant, KINGSLEYGRANT.com, KingsleyGrant.com. As a matter of fact, if you go there, you will have the opportunity to get a free gift that will allow you to get a whole, not only see what I write about and talk about, but you can also get my ebook that's called about the midlife opportunity, how to turn your crisis into your opportunity, and it outlined that into you get the audio and you get a 9-page ebook for that just by going there.
Nice.
So
very nice gifts.
Okay, well, check out Kingsley Grant at KingsleyGrant.com, and also Twitter, right? You said you use most at Kingsley Grant.
Yeah.
And check out the book. And again, we have Stoop Productions, www.stoopproductions, Brains and Brawns, podcast.com, the Love Energy Thread.com,
and the book,
and patriotfocus.com. So thanks again, Kingsley, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next week. reference.
Okay.
Do you use GarageBand?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just use it like I created the intro, and then I just drop the intro in, and then I take the audio I put it in Final Cut.
Oh, okay.
And you can take the clip and you can detach the audio.
Yeah.
So I detach the audio, throw it in GarageBand.
Yeah.
And then put the stuff in Final Cut with the beginning and end. I just drop it into the middle.
Oh, okay.
That way it keeps it, and then I just kind of arrange the titles to say like Chuck Terray, Wendy Sloan.
Yeah.
Put those on there, and then I upload it.
So now you know how this ends up on.
Oh yeah. I mean, I use GarageBand, and then in video I use the Mac has the let's go again. It's not anyway. A couple times.
No, I don't remember. I know that there's more. There's like Audacity and there's some other ones.
I know it's Audacity. Mac has ScreenFlow. So I use ScreenFlow.
I never use that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's pretty neat.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, so I record my courses there.